Been surfing at all? I mean, not in the rain, but
A couple days ago.
Yeah?
Out. Yeah,
Santa Cruz? No,
Half Moon Bay.
Half Moon. Yeah, that's right.
Just want to spot this little wind protected.
Yeah.
Did you get down to your place in New Mexico?
Yeah. And I got down there once this summer before the Olympics and had a great day out there. I don't think I had surfed for about a year. Had one good day with a really fun session.
Was Lopez out there?
No, I would love to meet him and
That's one of his
ask him
spots,
for some
though,
advice.
right?
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah.
He's into foiling now.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we get started, one little
Good job.
note, I was just telling him that narrative that Dennis plays well against us. We actually look it up. He averages more points against us than any team in the NBA in his career. 18 a game in his career against the Warriors. That's number one.
Not a surprise. I've had enough of him.
He averages 3.5 against Atlanta.
Ba-dum-bum.
How'd it go having Dennis in practice?
Good. Yeah, we scrimmaged, and he went over a lot of our offense and out of bounds plays, and just get that first day is always a lot. But he's a pro. He's been around, so he picks things up very quickly, and good to get him involved in scrimmages and see him with our guys, and he looked great.
What jumped out in particular just about his game?
Just his control of the game. We did some late game situational stuff, and you just know that he's going to take care of the ball and get you into pick and roll spacing, and feels like he's going to get you a good shot, whether it's him or one of his teammates.
Do you guys suggest the other day that it looks like he would be starting or would seem natural? Do you think that's the way that's headed right now?
I think so. We've got to sort it out and figure out what that means, and go from there. But really good chance he'll start, and then he will definitely play all of the non-Steph minutes. But I like the idea of them together as well. So good chance that that's the way we go. But we got to make that decision and sort through some options.
Now, Steve, do you guys travel today, or do you travel tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
So you'll get another practice?
Yeah, tomorrow practice here, and then we fly out.
Okay, so will you play him Thursday?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he'll
okay.
play.
I just,
Yeah.
Dennis has been really good in the mid-range shooting and throughout his career, good at kind of getting to that spot, like in the lane there. How much does that open up other things for your offense? I know you guys want to get to the bucket, you want to shoot a lot of threes, but how much is having somebody so effective in the mid-range help that?
Yeah, I like mid-range shots when good shooters are shooting them. So, we've had plenty of success over the years, with whether it's, Clay or Steph or Kevin Durant or Chris Paul, shooting mid-range shots, especially in the playoffs. A lot of times those are the ones that are there. And what I like about Dennis is he knows what's a good shot and what's not. He understands time and score. He knows what the shot clock situation is, but he's got options. He can get to the rim. He can shoot the three. He can shoot the mid-range. Excellent passer. So, we'll definitely lean into more pick and roll. That's going to happen naturally because he's a pick and roll player. And maybe it looks a little bit more like last year with Chris, running the show at times, although I think, Dennis isn't the exact same player as Chris, but there will be some similarities in that sometimes you need a guy to take care of the ball and take control of the game, and he's got that ability.
In the scrimmages, are you putting him opposed to Steph's team, or are you putting him with Steph's team?
Today I put him opposed because I wanted to get him with that second group. I thought that was more important than getting him, with Steph in the first group. But there will be both for sure.
You just look at it. I mean, it's obviously Brandon's been struggling a little bit with his shot. Could be losing minutes maybe with Schroder. Do you have this conversation with him? Where do you see his role is going forward now that you have Schroder?
I think this is going to be a good thing for Brandon. Ultimately, when you look at last year, we looked at it today. I think he played 90% of his minutes with either Steph or Chris last year. He's really ideally suited to be a secondary playmaker, not the primary shot creator. And I think we've put him in a tough spot this year based on our roster and based on the combinations that he's been put in a spot where he's had to create a lot. And he's best when he's on the weak side. Somebody else creates, the ball starts to move. Now he's cutting and putting it on the floor and making a play for someone else. And I think we'll see more of that now that Dennis is here.
Steve, where do you hope that he can have the biggest impact for you?
I think situationally, getting us organized, getting us under control. We've lost at least 3 games this year where we just did not handle, late game very well. We didn't get organized. We didn't get good shots. Made poor decisions, including mine. So it's a group effort. But I said this the other day. I like the idea of 2-point guards. I think the modern NBA requires 2-point guards. The best offenses in the league tend to have at least 2 pick and roll players, and so I love the idea that we can play Steph and Dennis together. He'll help us get organized. He can get Steph off the ball, which is important for us. We need to have both. We need to have Steph running pick and roll, but we need the threat of him coming off screens to loosen up the defense. And so I think all of that. And then I know from playing against him, coaching against him, I should say, he's an excellent defender. So you put him on or off the ball. He's quick, he's smart, tough. So I think he's a two-way player and somebody who can help us close games.
And is this who you guys are now? I mean, you take in consideration the salary cap and everything that you have. Like, do you feel like this is our group going forward, or are you still thinking we're going to keep our minds open in terms of the roster?
I mean, I'm looking at it that this is our team going forward. We loved what we had in the beginning of the season with Melton in that spot. And I know Melt and Dennis aren't exactly the same player, but the dynamic was similar. Two-way, on-ball defense, taking some of the pressure off Steph, handling the ball, running pick and roll. Very similar dynamic, and that we felt like that was our team. So the idea is Dennis plugs that hole. Everything falls into place. We start playing like we were a few weeks ago. To me, that's our team. The other stuff, it would be a question for Mike.
Steve, what kind of, do you know Dennis's personality at all? How is he sort of going to fit in that sense? I mean, he's certainly got a reputation for being kind of feisty and.
I like feisty. Yeah.
I mean, how much do you, obviously the way he plays matters first, but
Yeah.
how, culturally and how do you think he'll fit in the locker room and mesh with the players you have already?
I think he's going to fit really well. I've spent the last couple of days getting to know him a little bit, talking with him. We share the same agency, Priority Sports. So I've talked to Mark Bartelstein, who represents him and who has represented me for 30 years. Talked to him quite a bit. Dennis is he's a gamer. He's a competitor, and I love guys like that. I also like guys who have been through the ringer a little bit. He's played on about 6-7 different teams. You have to go through the NBA to really feel it and to appreciate the ups and the downs and everything that I've heard, talking to Mark, talking to, other people who have coached him. Darvin Ham and Ron Adams had a great conversation yesterday, and Darvin was raving about him. We feel great about a guy who's a winner and a competitor, and we're getting him at the right time in his career and in our current situation.
And does it raise any flags when a guy's been on 7 teams?
Sure, it can. I played on 6, so I guess I had a lot of flags. The way I always looked at it is that those were 6 teams that wanted me. So Dennis has had 7 who have wanted him, so. 8? Sorry, 8.
Steve, I think this is Dennis's 12th season, but it might be his most efficient scoring season. What have you seen as far as him being such an efficient offensive player this season?
Well, I've coached against him the last 2 summers in FIBA, and he's a fantastic FIBA player, but the confidence that he has now in his shot is so obvious. I think he's around 40% from 3 this year, shooting both on and off the ball, off the dribble or catch and shoot. I just think he's at the point in his career where, at 31, his mind and body are kind of at the top of, where they're connected, and he's got a feel for the game. When we played them against Brooklyn a month ago, whatever it was, 3 weeks ago, I knew exactly when he was going to shoot and when he wasn't. And it kind of pissed me off because it was the exact right time, He's trying to get everything organized, and it's early in the shot clock, and he's open, but he's looking for something else. And then it's sort of later in the shot clock, and he fakes like he's looking, and then he pulls up and he shoots and he makes a 3, and it's like, yeah, that's the right shot. So I just feel like he's at his peak right now in terms of his awareness of what wins.
How much does he alleviate specifically some of the burden that's been put on Steph and the way teams have tried to take away Steph late in games? And also Jonathan. I mean, you guys have really tried to go to Jonathan at different times. It seems like they would be a good tandem together, Dennis and Jonathan. How does that
Just
all
like
fit?
Chris last year, one of the thoughts with Chris Paul was pick and roll with Jonathan, and he'll get him the ball. Dennis is a great pocket passer, so plenty of ball screens with JK, get him the ball downhill to the rim. That'll be a big part of what we do. But we need to take some of the burden off Steph. He's had to take on, I think, an abnormal load this year of responsibility offensively. You guys know the numbers. 120 points per possession when he's on, and 101, I think, when he's off. And that's what we've missed is, another pick and roll player so that Steph doesn't have to run so much pick and roll all game and wear himself down.
You've mentioned Chris a couple of times as far as the ball handling, the pick and roll, but does this kind of quick, explosive score remind you at all of what Jordan brought to you guys in the 2022 championship season?
I mean, there is the speed element, the pick and roll, getting to the rim, rejecting a screen, getting a layup. That's another way that Dennis attacks that can really help us for sure.
Steve,
I'm sorry? He did not practice today. He got a good pre-practice shooting workout, but has not practiced yet, so he's doubtful for Thursday.
Steve, after the game the other night, Draymond talked about a defense needing to set a tone early. It didn't happen in that game, obviously. Can you set a defensive tone early without Draymond?
Without Draymond.
With him on the bench, is that something that
Great question. Great question. Yeah, these are the questions that we're having to answer and to figure out. We're trying to get the best out of JK, which is at the 4, give him some space. Don't want to start Draymond at the 5 for obvious reasons. So we've tried a little of everything, and the answer is it's going to be a lot harder to set a defensive tone when you have the best defender in the world on the bench. So, but it's not like we didn't consider that beforehand. But we're purposely taking this early part of the season to look at different things and hopefully get to the place where we're most comfortable, and then we go from there.
So it's possible or probable that Draymond will be back in the starting lineup?
It is certainly possible, Molly. Certainly possible. Thank you, guys.